Hey, how was your weekend? My voice is going in and out. I did had my first Wings game of the season last night, Saturday. A lot of yelling into a microphone, which I know doesn't make a lot of sense to a lot of people, but you got to yell into the microphone, show excitement. Anyway, what did you guys do over the weekend? Anything fun? Anything exciting? Anything happen with your football team over the weekend? I'm just curious. This is absolutely insane. I was really trying to figure out when was the last time the last 4 weeks of the season had this much turmoil, this much adversity, this much craziness. And I think I got to go back to the last couple of days of Chip Kelly, the last couple of weeks of Chip Kelly, where everyone was just like, is he going to get fired? Is he going to get fired? Is he going to get fired? And I remember a lot of people, myself included, were like, Jeffrey Lurie kind of gives a lot of people that extra year. Here's one more year to get it right. He gave Ray Rhodes one more year after a 6-10 season. He gave Andy Reid on a number of occasions one more year. And Andy Reid, more often than not, cashed in on that opportunity and took the team to the playoffs or showed some promise or drafted guys like Deshaun Jackson or Jeremy Maclin or LaShawn McCoy, and something great was about to happen. That's at least a feeling that you got. And Doug Peterson, that kind of ended abruptly. And now with Nick Sirianni, it's not necessarily giving him an extra year. I mean, the guy did coach in the Super Bowl last year. But the last couple of days, last couple of weeks at Chip Kelly, it was kind of, what's going to happen next? Is he going to be fired? Who's going to take over as their next head coach, their interim head coach? And I got to go back to then as the last time the Eagles were ending a season with this much turmoil. You were 10-1 not long ago. You were the NFC East number 1 seed, and then you got blown out in back-to-back games, and newsflash, not all the defense's fault, those losses. If the Eagles cash in the red zone in their first 2 possessions against San Francisco 49ers, they go up 14-0 instead of 6-0, maybe it's a little bit of a different ball game. Probably not, but it's at least probably not a blowout. Then the Eagles go and they get blown out where, by the way, your defense scored the only touchdown of the game for you. And now it's all Sean Desai's fault. This, without question, looks like a horrific panic move. How'd the weekend go? You fired your defensive coordinator after saying you weren't going to make any changes to your coaching staff that very week. And now you go into Seattle, your quarterback's sick, might not play. Your number 1 defensive back, and Darius Slay, is not playing. And you got a very banged-up roster, which we'll get into in a second here. So how'd the weekend go? We clinched the playoff spot. Okay. Well, how do you feel about that? Don't really care right now. Not a thing. Not something that's really factoring into any of this. All I care about is the Dallas Cowboys lost. That's the biggest thing from the weekend for me in terms of positivity. But, oh my goodness gracious, the Philadelphia Eagles could not have hit a bigger panic button at the end of the season than this one. They weren't firing their head coach. Brian Johnson wasn't going to get demoted. If there's anything that you can say about his relationship with Jalen Hurts, that is not going to lend itself to the idea that, poof, all of a sudden you have a different offensive coordinator, a different play caller. Not happening. The Eagles even tried to do this slyly, under the radar. The way it has been framed over the last 24 hours here, less than 24 hours, first thing I saw was the report from Ian Rappaport that cited sources saying the Eagles made a change to their defensive process. Defensive coordinator, so still defensive coordinator, still DC, Sean Desai is in the coaching box. Matt Patricia will call plays with the green dot. We'll call in plays to the green dot. Okay. Then Jay Glazer puts it out on Fox. I don't know who was it Jimmy Kempski? I like the way they put it. Rip the Band-Aid off. Or maybe it was Crossing Broad. Ripped the Band-Aid off of this one and said, Little Eagles scoopage today. Philly very quietly made a change at the defensive coordinator position this week, moving out Sean Desai to another position and replacing it with Matt Patricia. Desai remains with the team in a different capacity, but Patricia now runs and calls the defense. So Matt Patricia, make no mistake about it, is the team's defensive coordinator right now. Interim, whatever you want to call it, he's the DC. He's the guy calling the plays. He's all of a sudden the defensive coordinator. This comes on the heels of, yes, we'll get to Nick Sirianni in a second, but of this story that came out this week. Brooks Kubenya, I want to say, of The Athletic, who's the Eagles beat writer, he put out this story over the weekend saying that Eagles safety Kevin Byard persuaded defensive coordinator Sean Desai to let the secondary handle their own scouting report for the Seahawks this week. It's a task that the coaches normally handle, more on the player-led move for self-accountability. There's ownership in all of this. And then he wrote the story about it. But that was the mainstay of the story. Kevin Byard then retorted by putting this out there, saying that this article is being taken out of context. It was a cool change-up for each individual to present what they've watched on film before our first meeting of the week with our defensive backs coaches. Nothing more, nothing less. Please stop reaching for a narrative that's not there. And then presto changeo, Matt Patricia's in, Sean Desai's out. Sean Desai right now, aside from this just looking on the outside, looking in like an enormous panic move, and don't get me wrong, there's a silver lining in this that I'll get to. But aside from this looking like an enormous panic move by the organization, he is being scapegoated without question. Yes, the numbers with the defense are terrible. Eagles 28 points per game, fifth most allowed in the game in the NFL. Third down, worst in the entire NFL. Third worst red zone defense. All of that is not good. Not good even a little bit. We know where the struggles have been defensively with this team. But also as of late, the offense has not exactly been clicking either. So they needed to make some kind of change. I thought it was going to be a sacrificial lamb, somebody who we rarely ever talk about, a DB coach, a linebacker coach, whatever the case may be. I didn't think it was going to be Sean Desai. So he's out. Patricia's in. A lot of things went into this, but I do feel like he is being scapegoated. With 4 games left in the season, you're going to go up against the Seahawks. Not exactly a high-flying offense, but okay, they got plenty of weapons, that's for sure. You look at the receiving core without question. You look at guys like Lockett. You look at Metcalf, obviously. They have guys that can hurt you, and Jigba can also hurt you as well. They have a diverse offense. A lot of weapons there. Matt Patricia, and you make this announcement after you make Sean Desai address the media last Wednesday? What the hell, man? I have to think, for any saneness, any sanity in any of this, that Sean Desai walked off the podium as Wednesday press conference, and Howie Roseman was there waiting in the wings. Can I talk to you for a second? And Nick Sirianni, can I talk to you for a second? And Jeffrey Lurie, can I get you for a second? And then, by the way, you're not calling plays anymore. We're not firing you, but you're not calling plays anymore. That's going to go to Matt Patricia. Oh, the guy that was like the advisor guy that you guys didn't do a really great job of talking about when you hired him as a contingency plan, but we all kind of knew what was what. Oh, this all goes ass up with this guy who's only been a defensive coordinator once in his career. If this ends up being terrible, Matt Patricia's right there. He's there waiting in the wings. My personal thought on this is yes, scapegoat, absolutely. Panic move, absolutely. But the Eagles weren't going to make the same mistake that they made last year. The Eagles had a guy in Vic Fangio essentially waiting in the wings, and they didn't make that change. It ended up costing them big time in the Super Bowl. They still had Jonathan Gannon. Ended up costing them some egg on their face there as well when they had all that stuff leak out there about, tampering, Eagles and Cardinals tampering, Jonathan Gannon tampering, not supposed to talk. They made a mistake last year not bringing in Vic Fangio when they could have brought in Vic Fangio. Now, the defense wasn't nearly as terrible as it was last year in all these rankings here, especially with the sack numbers covering up everything last year. So it's a little bit more understandable as to why they didn't, but I feel like that's still in the back of their minds that they could have made a deal, could have made a move to really help them in the Super Bowl, and they did not do it. So this time around, they have another guy, not Vic Fangio, but now Matt Patricia, that they feel in-house can do a better job than the guy they already have doing the job. So presto, change, they made the choice. They made the switch. I mean, even last week, I told you it'd be nuts if they fired either of their coordinators. I told you last week they weren't firing anybody. And yes, technically, they didn't fire anybody. But they certainly relieved him of his play-calling responsibilities. And for lack of a better term, they fired him for being their defensive coordinator. Now he has another role with the team. I don't know if that's now the accounting department that Howie Roseman was in when Chip Kelly was here. I don't know. But it's a different role with the team. I'm sure the goal is to get him to quit at the end of the year so you don't have to pay him and then he can go somewhere else and do whatever. I would assume that's the direction that the Eagles want to go with this. But I was shocked that they did this because it is read like a panic move. It's not a great look when you're 10-3. You have clinched a second consecutive playoff spot. You have a defensive coordinator that has shown the ability to adjust for the vast majority of the season. And then over the last 2 weeks, absolutely everything went to hell in a handbag. I'm very much surprised that the Eagles made it. Now, here's the deal. If you're going to make a move this drastic, ready for the silver lining and all this? If you're going to make a move this drastic with your defensive coordinator, that means your defensive coordinator was out of tricks. That means he was out of magic. He had emptied the briefcase of plays and good ideas and said, I'm out. And probably one of the biggest reasons for this is the situation we got into last week that we talked about in the first quarter. The Eagles faced that 4th and 2 against the Cowboys, and all of a sudden you drop 2 safeties back. And Sean Desai said after the game during his press conference, as a matter of fact, he had talked about how, this was the thing that they kind of broke their trend. They broke their tendency, is what he said. Really, on a 4th and 2? They really throw the ball deep that often on a 4th and 2? We got to drop 2 safeties deep? And they end up handing the ball off? I think it was Byard after the game that said, they checked when they checked out of that, or he didn't know if they checked out of it or not, but they had the right play against our defense. You hear the stuff from Josh Sweat after the game about how he's not used to not getting home. He's not used to not having success. He's not used to not finishing the play. Jeff McClain, in his article, he pointed that out yesterday, talking about how it wasn't any specific calling anybody out or throwing anybody under the bus. He just said, this is not what I'm used to. And it didn't look like anything the Eagles were used to. Yeah, they had 3 sacks in the game, 2 by Hassan Reddick, I believe. But they had 5 sacks against Dak Prescott in their first meeting. Whatever adjustments the Cowboys made, they were successful in many different ways than they were in their previous meeting against the Eagles. Sean Desai is the guy everyone's looking at. Sean Desai is the guy that's out. But what you could tell from all of this, whether it's Kevin Byard in this story coming out, whether it's Josh Sweat's comments after they lost to the Cowboys, whoever it might be, you could tell that things are just not right in that locker room. And the Eagles felt like they have a better guy in-house that they could make that change to. And back to the silver lining, they're not making this move unless they 100% feel they can upgrade this spot for the last 4 games of the season. I don't know exactly what Matt Patricia is going to do. It's not like he's going to install a different plan, a strategy. He's not doing that. But if he can call a better play with what he's been around all season long as a defensive consultant with the Eagles, then maybe that's what they get out of this, because that's what they're betting on. That's what they're banking on. He's not going to come in here and install a new system, but if he can call the better play, like, for instance, not dropping 2 safeties deep on a 4th and 2, then maybe, just maybe, he'll come up with a better play call in that situation. It's hard to have a worse one. And I was very skeptical about either of these coordinators coming into the season. I said it was the biggest question mark going into the year. The year before, going into the Super Bowl, the NFC Championship season of a year ago, biggest question was obviously Jalen Hurts. The biggest question going into this year was, wow, you got 2 new coordinators here and you're not going to miss a beat. They were 10-1. And then against the upper echelon teams, holy Stromboli. Blown out of the water, didn't belong on the same field as those upper echelon teams. Good Lord. Another thought that came to me yesterday was, in this business, you hear from people about it. Relax, they're 10-1. Relax, they're 10-2. Relax, they're 10-3. Let that never be said again. The record, in the grand scheme of things, obviously decides your playoff seeding. So yes, that's a great thing. But if you're talking about winning a Super Bowl, if you're even just talking about getting out of your conference, the record don't matter. Not even a little bit. A 10-3 football team that this weekend clinched a playoff berth. A 10-3 football team that is coming off an NFC championship and is coming off a Super Bowl appearance with an MVP caliber quarterback, just fired their defensive coordinator with 4 games left to go. So don't tell me about a 10-3 football team anymore. They're 10-3. A win is a win. Nope. A win is not a win. I mean, if you're going from this equals that, then yes, a win, that is a win. You had more points than the other team, you win. Congratulations. But if you mean to tell me as that game plays out, you know that team, just because they won that football game, or they have found a way to win against lesser opponents, if you mean to tell me that equals the idea that this team will make it to a Super Bowl, oh, that's grading on a curve, baby. That's grading on a curve. That is not taking everything into account like we should be taking into account. And like the Eagles front office and probably Nick Sirianni as well took into account the job Sean Desai was doing over the last 2 weeks. Even though his defense scored as many touchdowns as the offense over the last 2 games. That's cool. That's fun. All right, good times. Good times. Oh yeah, and that whole Jalen Hurts, that guy, he's not feeling well either. Am I supposed to feel great about this team now? Am I supposed to feel fantastic about the Eagles going into Seattle where they've never won and beating the Seahawks? I don't feel great about it. By the way, is this it? This is it. The injury report. Oh, my goodness gracious. All right. Out. Zach Cunningham did not participate in practice, but he's making the trip. Jalen Hurts with an illness. Cam Jurgens out. Great. Pec injury. Darius Slay out. Knee. He had his knee surgery. Josh Sweat did not participate. Big game time decision. Reed Blankenship, full participant, so at least they'll have their starting safety up and running. So that's cool. Good God, man. The Dallas Cowboys yesterday opened up a huge door for the Philadelphia Eagles by losing the way they did to the Buffalo Bills. I mean, just losing in general. I picked them to lose. We talked about how they were going to lose. They lost. They got embarrassed. It was great. Best part of the weekend. 49ers won. Womp, womp. But the Eagles clinched a playoff spot. The door is wide open for them to win the NFC East. With the Cowboys dropping that game, the Eagles having 4 remaining games. And then the Cowboys have another tough one here coming up against the Miami Dolphins as well. It's right there for the Eagles to win the NFC East, at least. The 49ers, they cooked. Brock Purdy went into the medical tent there, and we all sat on the edge of our seats for a second. Went, oh, I'm not rooting for injury, but if they somehow get worse out of this, that's good for us. San Francisco dominated like they dominate. And, Eagles clinched playoff, which is great. I am not feeling great about where they're at going into Seattle right now. Look, Jalen Hurts is going to play in this game tonight. I have zero doubt. I'm sick. I can't play. He's going to play. How good he's going to be, I don't know. Will the defense be that much better? They can't get much worse than the last 2 games. And I know it could always be better. It could always be worse. But it would be really difficult to believe that the Eagles are allowed a 42-point performance and then allow a 33-point performance and then somehow allow another 40-point performance. I don't see it happening. But, man, my confidence is not really there tonight in the Philadelphia Eagles going on the road, sure, the extra day of rest, going into Seattle against a good, not great football team. This is a game where the offense absolutely has to get back on track. The things I'm going to be looking at in this game. Number 1, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, DeAndre Swift, all these guys being able to click it into high gear. Because you're going up against another porous defense. It really is funny when you compare these defenses. Eagles, 28 points per game. Seahawks, 24.5 points per game. 27th in the league versus the Eagles, who are the 27th in the league. Third down defense, both are terrible, with the Eagles being the worst. Seattle slightly better than them. They're 26th in the NFL, and they're 26th in red zone defense. Eagles are 30th in red zone defense. The Eagles are essentially facing themselves defensively today without the change of defensive coordinator. This is insane, these numbers. If you have even a 75, 80% version of Jalen Hurts, and he just has to play game manager or point guard, this should be the game he does that very well. Whether it's A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, DeAndre Swift, not about. I want the first play of the game to be a little in a flat route to DeAndre Swift. Or, you know what, spoil me. Give me a wheel route. Give him an opportunity to take it 30 yards upfield. Those guys are going to have to be key contributors in the game tonight. Cam Jurgens being out, the willingness to establish the run, the desire to establish the run, that seems like something that's going to go by the wayside. Maybe Dallas Goedert being back in the thick of things now. Maybe they don't lag off the run as much as they did when Cam Jurgens originally went out. Probably see Tyler Steen go in there at right guard today. It's going to be a very interesting situation that plays out tonight with how the Eagles attack the run game. But when they attack the defense in general, I don't really care how they do it tonight. I would love to see them establish a run. I think that helps everything out. But tonight's not a night where I give a damn about the run. Tonight's where I give a damn about the offense just clicking and getting back on track to a team that is now 7th in the NFL in points scored per game, and a team that before this 2-game losing streak, their first since 2021, I would expect tonight to be the night where they get back on track, offensively at least. And I would expect that this offense with these weapons is able to put up points. I can't see them losing, or excuse me, I can't see their defense or their offense, lagging behind for 3 consecutive games with these weapons. If that's the case, then maybe they fire their offensive coordinator, or not fire him, excuse me. Maybe they relieve him his play calling duty. By the way, speaking of that, going into this game, Nick Sirianni, this was Tuesday's press conference, I believe it was. Tim McManus asking this question, particularly about the offense, but also in general about the coaching changes.
Hey, Nick, I'm wondering if you're considering any coaching responsibility changes starting this week, including potentially trying to take over play calling to give the offense a spark.
No.
Okay, and what's behind that thinking?
Yeah, I feel good with the people that we have in this building. We're 10-3. We're in control of our own destiny, and we're going to keep rolling and finding answers with the people that we have.
When I listened to that before the show, I went, people in this building? I'm confident in the people in this building? What? Matt Patricia's in the building. As far as the play calling goes, again, it couldn't get much worse. However, Nick Sirianni fired himself from doing that a couple of seasons ago, last season. It wasn't great. No, I'm sorry, 2 seasons ago. He officially made the announcement last season. So I don't really see that. I don't see him going back to that, as I told you last week. But what is ominous about that is that the very affirmative no about any changes in coaching, philosophy, play calling, whatever. And then we have the people, we're confident in the people in this building. Okay. Just real quick. 2 weeks ago, I like our linebackers. Christian Ellis did a good job. Christian Ellis now with the Patriots. And Shaq Leonard is probably going to be your starting middle linebacker today. We having fun yet? The team's 10-3, but who cares? Let's fire people. Just clinch the playoff berth. Who cares? They haven't convinced us. There are fans out there that it's okay. They're 10-3. They clinched the playoff berth. They're in the tournament. They're in the playoffs. They're in the postseason. Blah blah blah. The team's not even satisfied, and you know what? In a way, that's great. They're not even satisfied with being 10-3. They got to be better than that heading into the playoffs, and you're damn right they should be. This is absolutely bonkers insane that this is what we're talking about here. All right, I gave you a couple of things already. I gave you. I'm looking for the offense to start clicking again. Brian Johnson's going to be calling plays just like that. Obviously, want Jalen Hurts to be healthy, but I'm going to be looking at this offense just getting back on track in this game, and this is the defense to get back on track in this game. Number 2, I gave you DeAndre Swift out of the backfield. I want the first play of the game to be something to DeAndre Swift out of the backfield. Screen, regular old wheel route, little flat route, whatever the case may be, just like that. I'd love to see him involved. You can't continue to have games where you have 3 guys targeted. Back-to-back games of that would be insanity. So looking at it like that, and I realize that all 3 of those guys, Dallas Goedert, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, they're pretty damn good at football. And yes, I want the footballs to go to them the vast majority of the time. However, other people should be at least targeted as well. DeAndre Swift should be one of those guys. Kenny Gainwell, Boston Scott, Rashad Penny, Oh, back in Seattle? Yeah, still not. It's going to be inactive. That's just the way it's going to go. That's what I need to see. After that, third thing I'm looking at here is this secondary. Reed Blankenship being back, great. Kevin Byard up and running, fantastic. Darius Slay being out. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and Jigba. As good as I can get with pronunciation. Wow. Those are three pretty damn good receivers right there. To not have even one of your starting defensive backs, and I know we can rain on the parade of the very brief parade of the defensive backs of the Philadelphia Eagles, but in this particular game, I'd like to have I'd like to have Darius Slay up and running. DK Metcalf, we all know the game that he had against the Dallas Cowboys and Deron Bland. A lot of people were talking about him gambling a lot on a lot of those big plays by DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf just beat him on a lot of those plays. I would love to see Darius Slay lined up against him tonight, but that is not going to be the case. So Eli Ricks, Sidney Brown. This is what the Eagles are going to get. Josh Jobe. This is what we're going to be looking at going into tonight's game. I don't feel great. Matt Patricia's probably looking at this like, if we were annoyed at guys 8 to 10 yards off the line of scrimmage to give a cushion to a receiver, if we were annoyed by Jonathan Gannon like that, if we were annoyed by, still Sean Desai like that, what is Matt Patricia going to do in order to make sure that this offense doesn't keep giving up or doesn't get big plays against the Eagles defense? Because the big plays are going to be there and waiting for the Seattle Seahawks. So if you don't like shell coverage, if you don't like big, huge cushions of coverage between your defensive back and your wide receiver, this is going to be a rough game for you. There is one thing that is very true about a Nick Sirianni head-coached team and his defense. Cushions. Loves the cushions. I don't know if that's the analytic department telling Jim Schwartz that. I don't know if it's the analytic department telling any defense coordinator, Jonathan Gannon. I don't know if it's Sean Desai. This is how we play defense. This is the way to do it. I assume we're going to see it with Matt Patricia still. I don't know if you could get a night and day coverage or night and day scheme different or a night and day difference in what you have seen from Sean Desai, Jonathan Gannon, and you're going to get that kind of huge difference all of a sudden in Matt Patricia. The day before a game, it gets leaked, and the Eagles eventually put out a notification. I got the notification from the Eagles yesterday, well after Glazer, well after Ian Rappaport. You're all of a sudden going to make that change. So I would certainly hope that internally that change has already been made or was already made. But I don't expect to see some kind of night and day difference between what you saw from Sean Desai and what you're seeing from Matt Patricia in this game. But you know what? It is certainly the fourth thing I'm going to be looking at in this game tonight. How much of a difference is it really going to be in overall philosophy in game play calling as a defense? Are you going to see anything exotic? Are you going to see anything disguised? What's it going to look like tonight? Is there going to be any glaring difference with the personnel that they're going to have tonight? Is there going to be any glaring difference? Bottom line is the only difference, I hope, is that you don't allow the other team to score more than 17 points. That'd be a nice change. That'd be a real nice welcome change. I don't really care how they get there. I don't care if it's like 5 tip passes at the line and the Eagles are able to return those for touchdowns. I just care that they keep them off the board without 42 points, without 33 points. Let's go with that. Fourth thing I'm going to be looking at in this game tonight, defensive line. I understand 3 sacks against Cowboys. Fine. No matter who your secondary is, no matter who your defensive play caller is going to be, your defensive line has to win their battles. Fletcher Cox, Josh Sweat, Hassan Reddick as the edge rusher, Brandon Graham lined up, Jordan as a defensive tackle, Jordan Davis. Hopefully the conditioning is staying up to par. Jalen Carter keeping things going. No matter who your defensive coordinator is, no matter who your defensive play caller is, your defensive line has to win battles at the line of scrimmage. So if you have Geno Smith back there, if you have Drew Lock back there, whoever the case is tonight, whatever the case may be, this defensive line needs to be aggressive against this Seattle Seahawks offensive line tonight. And you need to see those guys win their one-on-one battles. You need to see guys fighting through double teams. And then off the edge, this Josh Sweat character after his disappointment, I hope that is motivation for him to get back on track to what he was doing before this Dallas Cowboys game, to what he was doing before this game against San Francisco 49ers. In the previous 11 games of the season, I need to see him playing up to that level again. Same to be said for Hassan Reddick, Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham. All these guys on the defensive line need to be in the backfield and cause problems, because this secondary is going to be lacking tonight. No matter what exotic scheme, play calling, disguise, design, whatever Matt Patricia might be rolling out tonight, you're still, bottom line, going to need the most talented guys on this defense be able to make big plays for you and be game changers. So I'm looking at you, Fletcher Cox, Jalen Carter, yes, a rookie, Hassan Reddick, Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, all these guys. Milton Williams, make plays in the backfield. That's what I'm going to be looking at. The fifth thing is just overall health and prosperity to Jalen Hurts. Don't show any ill effects of the illness. But when your quarterback's sick and questionable but expected to play, I'm going to go ahead and hope that he plays. And I'm going to be watching him like a hawk. Not a Seahawk, but a hawk. The other thing that's kind of outside the lines here, I am if there's one thing in particular that's not really anything to do with a scheme or a disguise, if there's one thing in particular I'm looking at with Matt Patricia, there's one guy on this defense that I don't feel has been used properly, and that's Sidney Brown. I'm not naming him a Pro Bowler. I'm not putting him in the Hall of Fame. I'm nothing crazy. It's one just thing in particular, and I believe great coaches, coordinators, play callers do this, and Jim Johnson did this better than anybody. It's when you recognize something that a player does extremely well, and you go, how do I harness that and abuse the hell out of it for our benefit? Sidney Brown is sometimes to a fault, but always one aggressive SOB. This guy is not afraid of anything. And does that mean he's going to get beat? Yeah, that's why, maybe not have him play as a slot corner. But one thing I have noticed about Sidney Brown over the last two games is that even when the game's out of hand, this guy is full tilt all the time. This guy is just going at 120 miles per hour all the time. Harness that tonight. If there is one thing I want to see from Matt Patricia, it's yes, overall success, scheme, play calling, all that to be great. But in terms of one real specific thing, I want to see how he uses Sidney Brown. Because if he's in the slot and he's getting torched by Tyler Lockett, then yeah, not a great idea, Matt Patricia. But if he lined up in the slot, you see a corner blitz. If you bring him up as a safety blitz, I want to see how he uses him as an aggressive player. Because Sidney Brown is not just going to be going after the quarterback and getting sacks or anything like that, but rushing the quarterback, getting tackles for loss on running backs. I'm just very curious to see how he kind of deploys Sidney Brown. Because I feel like he could be he is a missile out there on the field. And he's one guy that I think has a lot of potential in this league, the startup costs, whatever you want to call it. I think he's got a lot of potential in this league. But right now, I know he does something really well, which is play an aggressive brand of football. And if you're looking for somebody to be a missile, I'd like to see him punch in that launch code for Sidney Brown tonight. I know it's an oddity. I know it's an extreme, but it is something that's outside the box. But I feel like the Eagles have not used him enough in certain situations where they're looking to keep the quarterback guessing. You want to be a little creative? Use Sidney Brown in that fashion. Sean Desai has done it to an extent, but very limited. I want to see if Matt Patricia trusts the rookie to be that missile a little bit more tonight. Yeah, everybody else step up. Everyone else great play calling, right play call at the right time, that whole thing. Sure, I want to see all that. But I'm very curious to see how he's going to use a rookie like Sidney Brown to show you he can at least be aggressive and get into that backfield and not be afraid. Very curious to see how he does that tonight. So that's what I'm looking at tonight for tonight's Eagles-Seahawks game. Played for you, Nick Sirianni. What an absolutely insane weekend. Before I get to the chat check here with you guys tonight, I want to talk a little bit about our friends at MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Take advantage of all they have to offer at mybookie.ag and use promo code FARZI at mybookie.ag for up to $1,000 redeemable in cash bonus when you sign up. Create an account at MyBookie and use promo code FARZI. Want to bet on football? Boom, bet on football. Want to bet on basketball? Bet on basketball. 10-9-8 76ers making things happen. How about a little hockey? Flyers, unbeatable. Well, unpoint deniable? Yeah. So bet on all of it. MyBookie, mybookie.ag. And also, you would like politics? You can bet on politics. You don't have to bet on just sports. Your favorite TV shows? You can bet on that as well. I just caught up with a little show called Euphoria. Good God, not sending my kids to school. Anyway, they're going to be homeschooled. But you can bet on it all at MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Use promo code FARZI for up to $1,000 redeemable cash bonus. How about the incredible people at the Game Time app? 'Tis the holiday season. Last-minute gift ideas? How about tickets? How about tickets for those people in your life that want to go to those big events, those big concerts, those big comedy shows, those big games? The Game Time app has it all with flash ticket sales right at the last minute. Also, you always have hope at the Game Time app. Check out the Game Time app. Use promo code FARZI. That's promo code FARZI, F-A-R-Z-Y, when you download the app and create an account, and you get $20 off your first purchase when you use promo code FARZI at the Game Time app, gametime.co. Make sure you check it out at the Game Time app. You can also preview your seats at the Game Time app so you never walk in to a scene you don't already know. Right there at the Game Time app. And if you find other tickets that are a better price than Game Time will, check this out, redeemable up to 110% of the difference. Not too shabby. Lowest price guaranteed at the Game Time app. Use promo code FARZI at the Game Time app. How about Manscaped? Ladies and gentlemen, the Manscaped is fantastic. When you go to manscaped.com, make sure you use promo code FARZI20. That's the number 2 and the number 0, 20. FARZI20. You get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. Manscaped, the leader in below-the-waist grooming. So make sure you take care of that special someone. Also, beard, ear, and nose hair trimmers as well. Manscaped, manscaped.com. Promo code FARZI20. How about PHL Sports Station, Philadelphia Sports Station, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs? That's PHLSportsStation.com. Let's get into the chat check and see how you wonderful people are doing on this fine, fine morning. Did I get that? Michael Johnson, can't get worse. There you go. Wait, what's going on here? I'm pushing buttons. There we go. Yeah, now I'm at the top. Sean Gillespie, good morning. Wine Niners Wine. Good morning, Farsley. Hopefully you are bringing everyone's favorite guests. Is the Lil Toots, when she was down here last week, she took the amazing, magical, twerking Christmas penguin. So it's no longer in the studio. And Miss Scusi. Strange season. How the hell is Jalen sick? Come on, multimillionaire. Have a private everything. There you go. Brian Johnson is Scusi. Brian Johnson had better run the damn ball. Analytics department needs to stay out of coaching. It's kind of why they were. Buddy Christ. Happy soon to be birthday, Buddy Christ. Mike is right. What's up, Mike? Good morning. Good morning. Teresa, what's going on? Paul Natali. Good morning. Travis, what's going on? What a wrapping moment for the Bills. Bravo. That was right? Yeah. King Pooty TV. On Friday, I asked, why is Coach Pencil here? Guess I got my answer. You definitely did. Buddy Christ, don't want anything for my birthday next week. Just an Eagles win tonight and maybe another death. Could you imagine Jesus going to God? Hey, if I could really have one thing for my birthday. All right, son. Aren't you me? Yes, we're all the same. What? Anyway. Sean, what's up, Sean? Another Sean. Risco? Well, we should be I think that shouldn't be as predictable now. Yeah, I guess. That's hilarious, actually. That's subtly hilarious. Well, we're not going to be predictable. You know what we're going to do? At 10-3, we're going to fire our defensive coordinator, and then everybody think we're nuts. Predict that. Another Sean Gillespie, of course. What's going on, Buffalo? Run the ball. It's ridiculous. Oh, yeah, Buffalo ran the ball. Yes, it is pretty damn ridiculous. Daz, I feel rejuvenated. All right, Desai is out. Great day for the birds. Let's hope so. Mullets! What's up, Mullet Alvarado? What's going on? That's what did it? Okay. There you go. Bunch of Dak. Eagles fan, what's good, Farzy? Twiz and Daz, what's up, Eagles fan? Kevin Byard's first big play was sacking Sean Desai. Hey, he had the interception against the guys, the Chiefs there. Why y'all feeling sorry for Desai? I'm not feeling sorry for the guy. I just find it to be a crazy thing here. Twiz, communication was terrible. Tackling, and we played 20 yards off. Glad about the change. But will it stay the same? Yeah, that'll stay the same. The 20 yards off, as you put it, yes, that'll stay the same. Patricia has been top 10 every year and was defense coordinator at New England. And Nick, I feel like anytime anybody brings up something positive about New England and a person's coaching history, it only ends up negative elsewhere. Oh, well, he's in New England. That doesn't mean he can do it outside of New England. If anything, it proves the opposite. Mister, what's going on? Mister. Slay had a knee injury. He's done until the playoffs. Yep. Melanoid, what's going on? I'm not mad at the change. I'm not mad either. Talent and coaching. Good point, Daz. It'll all come. We'll see. We'll see how much of it was coaching. Eagles fan, I'm not disagreeing with you necessarily on it can't get any worse. And yeah, Patricia did wonders with guys. I saw Chris Long say that Matt Patricia's awesome. It was the best endorsement. It was the best endorsement I had seen. Chris Long talked to USA Today and said that we didn't have anybody in New England, or said we didn't have the best players in New England, and Matt Patricia got the best out of us. So let's hope that's the same deal right here. Bowner, what's going on? Oh, that's a penis. That's definitely a penis. All right. I'm going to move on from that. Block trolls. There you go. Blue Flame. What's up, Blue Flame? Always makes my heart happy when the Cowboys lose. How can it not? Dan Schwartz. What's up, buddy? Let's go. Birds, 24-20 Eagles is my prediction. I hope everyone is well. Have a great holiday. Thank you, Dan. Same to you. Michael Johnson's back. What's going on? DK is about to have a field day tonight. That certainly seems like it. Mihai Sanchez. What's going on, Mihai? Thank you, Sean McDermott in Buffalo. Once an Eagle, always an Eagle. What am I having Sean McDermott as the defensive coordinator? People are happy. Do we think Frank Reich will bring any spark to the offense? Yes. I can totally see Frank Reich as a consultant next year. The only thing is, if he takes a job, I think he still gets paid. I think he still gets paid no matter what. So, yeah. Farza. Okay. You are acting like we didn't just get blown out twice. What do you mean? How am I not acting? We did. Yes, that happened. I've acknowledged it multiple times. Terrible. April. Good morning, April. Super Bowl or bust real? So if the Eagles don't make this move, what, Farzy? Then they probably – I don't think this is going to be some amazing turnaround defensively. I'd love for it to happen, but I would think it would be a move made after the year, not when you're 10-3 heading into the playoffs. And you still have a very good chance at winning the NFC East. A favorite to win the NFC East. Slay would have been smoked, to be honest. Yeah, I'd still rather have him. The worst is a primetime game. You lose, runs late, and you have to work early the next day. It's obviously the worst. Tell him, Mark. You know how it is early. Yeah, it is rough, but I ain't complaining. Y'all are scared of the 49ers. I'm not becoming Shanahan will choke in the playoffs like he does year after year. Yeah, I hope that's the case. Q. What's up, Q? Good morning. Do you think this is a Patricia move was a Nick or Howie? I do think it was a joint decision. I know everyone's going to say Howie just pulled it and Nick didn't do anything. Rodney. What's up, Rodney? But I do think it was a joint decision. What do you think about Baltimore beating San Fran? I love it. What do I think about it? I think it's very possible, and I'm here for it. Do I think it's a shot across the bow for Sirianni? Joseph, good question, but no. I don't think Nick Sirianni is in any danger of losing a job. And I would endorse him not being in danger. I think it's right that he is not in danger of losing a job. Bum Rush, great name. Y'all don't become the worst defense in football statistically over 2 games. Thank God they're willing to do something to spark this team. Yeah, I hope so. Wait, they're not winning without Hurts. Hurts sick, might not play. Yeah, he might not play, but I think he plays. Does Reich and Roseman have a little beef? I don't think so. One of the people they listened to most about hiring Nick Sirianni was Frank Reich. So there you go. Thanks everybody in the chat. You guys are great as per usual. Here's what I'm going to go with tonight. I don't like it, but I'm going to go with this tonight. I don't feel great. I'm going to go with the Eagles 31, Seattle Seahawks 24. That's the way I see this game shaping up tonight. I don't like it. I don't feel great about it, but I see the Eagles winning. I can't pick against them tonight. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. You guys are great as per usual. We'll be back with you guys tonight. The Jacob Media pregame show, halftime show, and postgame show as well. Birds 365 coming up at 8 o'clock today, so make sure you guys keep it right here on the Jacob Media Sports Channel. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. See you.